many trillions of prayers have not been answered would weigh on the other side, that meaning that there might not be somebody up there answering prayers. Well, how then can so-called miracles happen? Well, there are the real miracles that anything at all exists, that life is, that we are effectively traveling around through space in a piece of cosmic lint compared to everything. And everything down here in its micro and macro levels, as well as everywhere else in this universe, is functioning according to very specific laws. Things have duration. They're held in place. So if we come back to this idea of the creation, that this universe somehow brought itself into being, and we really don't like that. There's got to be a creator who's been sitting around forever with nothing to do except go let there be light and throw the switch. Somehow, if reality is bigger and relatively, outside of the ability for the human mind to grasp or solve comfortably, but at the same time, if these laws, the law that, goes from subatomic to the grossest of all matter, that keeps that wooden table being wood until it's, disintegrating according to its duration, and the steel in your car has, another, but it's all the same essence. It's energy densified into matter according to very specific and varying frequencies, if you will, vibration.
Right. You're talking the quantum realm now, correct?
I don't know. I may well be. So I'm just saying, if we start to look at the miracle of life, blades of grass and leaves and trees and bugs and everything else, and the sub and the microscopic and submicroscopic, we would recognize something creates and holds it all together. Great. Does it mean then that it's the beings that we've been introduced to in our holy books? And I'm unabashedly saying, obviously not. And oh my goodness, why would I say obviously not? Well, when I started to get into the Meier material and the stuff that's so sensitive about religions and beliefs and all this, I had no beliefs, but there was some stuff in there that was pretty charged for me. Well, how could this be true? And this sounds like, well, could this be anti-Semitic, or could this be anti-Christian, or anti-this? So I went and I cracked open the Old Testament. And after leafing through here and there and realizing that the loving, the God of love and mercy had commanded untold thousands of numbers of deaths, and at his own hand affected a few, departures from this world himself in some brutal ways, it became clear to me that there was a disconnect, a dissonance, that whoever or whatever had said, "Thou shalt not kill," meaning that thou shalt not murder, that is, you shall not kill innocent beings, could not be the same being that was saying to Moses or Joshua or Daniel or whatever, go forth and slay them all, the man, woman, children, and the babes in their mother's arms without mercy. That did not compute for me. That's not the creator of anything except, in my opinion, sheer terror. And that doesn't, obviously sit well with people that have embraced a belief system or religion. But I try to help people out, and I'm not trying to be condescending. I mean, when I get into my debates about it, I say, look, every religion is resting on one inadmissible, illogical, and childish premise that you could not bring into a kindergarten room or a court of law. And that premise is, what's in this book is true because this book says it's true. That is the foundation of every religious belief that has a foundation to it. This is true because it says it's true. We have been inculcated cellularly for thousands of years to accept that idea as a premise, so therefore we get all nervous about beliefs. I just was doing my own little show yesterday and talking about why are people so sensitive about religious beliefs? And politics and religion, we don't talk about politics and religion, many people would say. And I was always wondering, well, why? Do people really get upset if you talk about gravity? Well, no, we don't get upset about gravity. Well, why then questioning the stuff that often gets pounded into young heads when there's just mush brains, so they grow up with a belief system that as a rational adult they might be questioning a lot more than they're allowed to as a kid. So I'm, if I think about it, in some ways I'm kind of merciless about that because I only want the truth. I don't care if anybody says to me, well, you believe in the Billy Meier case, don't you? And I say, no, I don't. Well, what are you talking about? I said, I happen to know from my own research over 30 years that it's true. It's actual. The man is telling the truth. He's been photographing things, there's scientific evidence, but I can't prove everything that relates to the far distant past or the as yet unarrived future. I have a page on my website with probably over 100 specific scientific things that Meier verifiably published before the events occurred or the discoveries were made. So I know, and I know from my own personal experience with him trying to trick him 4 times in a 3-year period on one little question, that the man doesn't lie about it. There's just nothing in it for him. Now, is he accurate about everything? Well, so far they're batting, pretty up right around 99.99.
I would say he's not accurate about global warming at all.
Well, I think
I spent 300 hours on this. I would absolutely be willing to go to Switzerland, sit with you, and sit with him, and give him my research material.
Well, just to jump into it, I'll say this. Global warming is a natural occurrence.
I understand.
But what their position is, and let's remember that Meier started to publish this in 1951 before anybody was thinking about it, that it would be exacerbated to a 3-to-1 level by human activity. And there are certain, I think, obviously, I'm sure you have a strong and firm position about it, and that you substantiate your position.
No, actually, I was a believer. Like a religious person, I believed in global warming. I believed in what the, quote, experts were saying. Fascinating things about belief, from my experience, is that a lot of times you don't know you have it until you're having to question something. Then you find out what you believe. You don't always know what you believe. I'm for sustainability. I'm for clean water. I'm for getting the pollutants out of everything. I'm for pure seeds that aren't altered by Monsanto, no genetically modified seeds. I'm for no spraying of the air, clean air not impacting and blowing holes in our ionosphere. Always been an environmental activist, advocate, etc. It goes on. But when I did my 300-hour investigation, I was absolutely appalled. I agree with you that global warming is something that happens. It's a natural occurrence. Climate change is a natural occurrence. My issue is what it's been turned into, the politics that have gotten in it, how information has been not part of the equation. And I'm no longer, quote, a believer like a religious person. And I'm not a skeptic. I am clearly looking at the whole system's context of information that has been denied, not even allowed as part of the scenario when it comes to science. The obstruction of science I've witnessed, the politics of this, and the players of the earth getting together, creating a carbon trade system worth billions and trillions of dollars with GE, with one of the big players in Enron, Al Gore, the chief architect of J.P. Morgan Chase derivatives market. The toxic derivative market is part of the creation of the cap and trade system. This is really beyond repair.
I don't argue with you about all that stuff, but that's not global warming. That's, as you said, that's the politics of it.
Yeah, but that's just one part of it. The other part of it is the science of it. You cannot disconnect the science from the structure and the business that's going on, which is obstructing the ability for scientific information to be part of the process. The sun is not allowed in the quotient of looking at climate change at all.
Okay,
not at all.
I have no argument with you on how the corporate level has manipulated things. I would say this, that when we go back, I'm going to look at it from this perspective, not from a belief system.
Oh, and one other thing I just want to say before you respond to that. This is one other question, and then I want to get back with this, if you can stand by.
No problem.
Which is that a lot of the things Billy Meier says are probably correct, but I, as a human being, no matter how much I read, no matter how much I meet him, no matter how accountable and passionate and committed you are, and how much you know, I will never give one person who's prophesizing the power of God on earth to dictate or to disseminate what's going to be. Because in the quantum realm, we have a way to prevent and stop everything. I'll never take that away.
This is the point. As you know, you saw the film, and when I said at the very end, I'm asked the question, well, what if you find out it's all a hoax? I want to know how he did it. My point is this, that if we understand the purpose of prophecy, we have prophets on our own world that we listen to all the time, meaning people who take known information, they crunch the numbers, if you will, and they make a projection. The prophecies in this case, in this